The call came through at 11:45 p.m. on a Friday night while I was elbow deep in hydraulic fluid under the main press at Precision Auto Components, trying to stop a catastrophic equipment failure that had already shut down 3 assembly lines and put us at risk of recalling 180,000 auto parts. My phone buzzed against my work shirt. I ignored it. Then it buzzed again. I wiped my hands on my coveralls and checked the screen. Preston Ward, my direct supervisor, calling from his suburban home at what should be dinner time with his family. I almost didn't answer. When you're dealing with a mechanical crisis that's costing $35,000 per hour and could trigger a federal safety investigation, phone calls from management feel less urgent than the grinding metal and leaking hydraulic lines in front of you. But I answered anyway because that's what 26 years of being a reliable problem solver conditions you to do. Stone speaking. Garrett, it's Preston. I need to inform you of a company decision. Effective immediately, we no longer require your services as lead manufacturing engineer. Your employment is terminated as of today. I looked at the hydraulic press in front of me, warning lights still flashing red, pressure readings showing dangerous fluctuations every 30 seconds. 3 separate production lines completely shut down because of our emergency protocols. Rachel Foster, the plant operations manager, standing 10 feet away, looking at me with desperate hope because I was literally the only person who understood these 35-year-old German hydraulic systems well enough to diagnose failures this complex. I understand, I said, keeping my voice level. I'll inform Rachel that you'll be handling the equipment repair procedures for the crisis I'm currently managing. Silence long enough that I thought the call might have dropped. What crisis? The hydraulic system failure that brought me here at 6 p.m. yesterday. 3 production lines are down. We're looking at potential recall liability and federal safety violations. I'm in the middle of tracing the pressure loss through systems that haven't been properly documented since 1989. I assume you'll want to send someone else to complete the diagnostic work since I no longer work for Precision Auto. More silence. I could hear him breathing. Garrett, let's discuss this after you've resolved the plant situation. I don't think that's appropriate. You just terminated my employment. I shouldn't be working on Precision Auto projects if I'm no longer a company employee. I'll brief Rachel on what I've discovered so far and head home. Or actually, I guess I won't bother stopping by the office since you said my employment is terminated. Wait, Garrett, let me call you back. He ended the call before I could respond. My name is Garrett Stone. I'm 54 years old. And I just got fired while managing an equipment crisis that nobody else at my company knows how to solve. At 54, I thought I had maybe 11 good working years left before thinking about retirement. I thought I'd built enough expertise and reputation to coast into my golden years with respect and security. That phone call changed everything. Before I explain what happened over the next 72 hours, let me establish who I am and why that phone call was the most expensive mistake Preston Ward ever made. I joined Precision Auto Components in 1998 as a maintenance technician specializing in legacy manufacturing equipment. Back then, the automotive industry was just starting to realize that their old machinery wasn't going anywhere. Companies were running critical production on hydraulic presses and assembly equipment built in the 1980s and 1990s. My role was troubleshooting complex mechanical failures in systems that younger engineers didn't understand and couldn't fix. When a plant had equipment breakdown and their maintenance department couldn't identify the problem, they called me. Over 26 years, I'd responded to 340 equipment emergencies across 8 states. I diagnosed bearing failures, traced hydraulic leaks, identified worn camshaft timing, and prevented production shutdowns that could have cost clients millions in missed delivery deadlines and contract penalties. I'd worked through blizzards, holidays, and family vacations. I missed my nephew's wedding to fix a press failure at a transmission plant in Ohio. I spent my 51st birthday in a maintenance pit in Tennessee rebuilding hydraulic cylinders while Rachel celebrated alone at home. That was the old way of doing business. When you gave a company your word, you kept it. When they had a crisis, you showed up. Loyalty was supposed to be a two-way street, or at least I thought it was. Most importantly, I developed deep expertise in German hydraulic systems that most of the automotive industry still runs on, but nobody teaches anymore. Every plant had unique configurations. Every system had custom modifications. Every maintenance protocol had quirks that existed only in my experience-based understanding of how those systems behaved under stress. That knowledge was what made me valuable. That knowledge was also what Preston Ward had just eliminated from Precision Auto's crisis response capability at the worst possible moment. The equipment failure had started 31 hours earlier. Our main hydraulic press, a 1989 Muller system that stamped transmission housings, had begun showing pressure irregularities during the second shift. By morning, two secondary presses were exhibiting similar problems. By noon Friday, all three systems were locked down due to safety protocols. This was the kind of cascading failure that kept plant managers awake at night. Someone with serious technical knowledge was needed to trace the root cause through 35 years of modifications, repairs, and band-aid fixes that most people assumed were too complex to fully understand. They were wrong. Old equipment isn't automatically reliable equipment. It's just equipment that nobody remembers how to fix properly when it breaks. I took my truck to the plant Friday morning. Arriving at 7 a.m., Linda Foster met me at the maintenance entrance. She looked like she hadn't slept in 2 days, which she probably hadn't. "Garrett, thank you for coming. We've been shut down for 18 hours. Corporate is asking why we can't get our systems running ourselves. Because this failure pattern is affecting components that require hands-on hydraulic analysis to properly diagnose. I need to examine the pressure manifolds directly." She led me to the production floor. 3 massive hydraulic presses, each one capable of stamping 200 transmission housings per hour when they weren't locked down due to equipment failures. All silent now, all offline, all costing Precision Auto approximately $35,000 per hour in lost production. This was the kind of place that reminded me why I got into this business. These weren't just machines. They were the backbone of American manufacturing. Every transmission housing, every engine mount, every brake component, it all came through systems like these. And when they went down, real people suffered. Assembly workers got sent home without pay. Suppliers missed delivery contracts. Customers faced production delays. I spent the next 9 hours tracing the failure through hydraulic schematics, identifying the exact pressure relief valves that were malfunctioning, and mapping the cascade effect through interconnected systems. This wasn't some routine maintenance issue. This was sophisticated mechanical failure that required understanding exactly how these German systems had been modified over 35 years. By 4 p.m., I'd identified the root cause. A pressure relief valve in the primary manifold was sticking due to contaminated hydraulic fluid. But the contamination wasn't random. It was metal particles from worn cylinder sleeves that hadn't been replaced during routine maintenance. The particles were causing valve failures across all 3 interconnected systems. Fixing it required rebuilding hydraulic cylinders, replacing contaminated fluid lines, and updating maintenance protocols to prevent similar failures. This wasn't like changing your car's oil. You couldn't just order new parts and bolt them in. Every component had to be tested, calibrated, and integrated with surgical precision. One mistake, and you could destroy equipment worth $2 million. I estimated 14 to 18 hours of careful mechanical work across all 3 systems. It was the kind of work that required not just technical knowledge, but institutional memory. You had to understand not just how the equipment worked, but why it was configured that way, what modifications had been made over the years, and how those modifications affected system behavior. I started at 10:30 p.m. Friday night. By 11:15 p.m., I was halfway through rebuilding the first hydraulic manifold when Preston called and told me I was fired. After Preston hung up, Rachel approached me cautiously. You could see the panic starting to set in as she processed what she'd just overheard. "Garrett, is everything all right? You look concerned. I just got terminated by my employer while in the middle of repairing your production systems." Her expression went from concern to horrified. In her world, plants didn't just close for the weekend. Every hour these systems stayed down was costing her facility money and contracts it couldn't afford to lose. Terminated. "But you're the only person who understands our hydraulic systems. What happens to our equipment?" That's an excellent question. Precision Auto will need to send someone else to complete the work. How long will that take? The other technician who understands these German systems is Cameron Price. He's in Kentucky managing a plant startup. Precision Auto might have to wait until he becomes available. How long? Cameron's project is scheduled for another 12 days plus travel time. Rachel's face went white. I could see her doing the math in her head. We can't wait 12 days. Every day offline costs us $800,000 to $40,000 in lost production, plus contract penalties. 12 days would be over $10 million in losses. Then I suggest you contact Precision Auto Corporate and explain the urgency. At 1:20 a.m., my phone rang again. This time it was Owen Bailey, Precision Auto's Chief Operating Officer. Owen had been with the company for 15 years and understood exactly how critical my role was to manufacturing crisis management. He was also smart enough to realize that Preston had just made a catastrophic error in judgment. Garrett, I just got off the phone with Preston. There's been a misunderstanding about your employment status. We need you to complete the equipment repairs before we discuss any personnel matters. Owen, Preston was very clear. He said, my employment was terminated effective immediately. That's not a misunderstanding. That's termination. I could hear the desperation creeping into his voice. Owen understood the implications in a way that Preston obviously didn't. This wasn't just about one disgruntled employee. This was about Precision Auto's entire reputation in the automotive industry. I understand this is confusing, but let's focus on resolving the production crisis first. We can address your employment situation after you've secured the systems. I don't think that's appropriate. If I'm terminated, I shouldn't be working on Precision Auto projects. If I'm not terminated, then Preston needs to call me back and clarify that he made an error. This is a critical production situation. These systems are losing hundreds of thousands of dollars per day. We need you to complete the hydraulic repairs. Then you need to clarify my employment status first. Am I a Precision Auto employee or not? Long pause. I could hear Owen thinking through the implications. If he said I was still employed, he'd be contradicting Preston's termination and creating internal political problems. If he said I was terminated, he'd be admitting that Precision Auto had just eliminated their crisis response capability in the middle of their most expensive emergency. Garrett, let me conference in Preston so we can resolve this together. I'd rather you didn't. Preston was clear about his decision. I'm respecting that decision by no longer working on Precision Auto projects. If the plant needs assistance, they should contact company headquarters and request another technician. There is no other technician available who understands these legacy hydraulic systems. That's an unfortunate situation, but it's not my problem anymore since I'm no longer a Precision Auto employee. I ended the call. Rachel was standing nearby, having heard my side of the conversation. The weight of the situation was settling on her shoulders like a lead blanket. At my age, I'd seen this look before. The moment when someone in management realizes they're completely dependent on something they don't understand and can't control. What should we do, Garrett? You should contact Precision Auto headquarters and request emergency technical support. Explain the urgency of the situation. They'll prioritize getting someone here as quickly as possible, but you're here now. You understand our systems. You are in the middle of fixing the problem. Can't you just complete the work? I thought about that carefully. In the old days, you'd finish the job regardless of company politics, because it was the right thing to do. But I'd learned something important over 26 years in corporate America. Loyalty has to go both ways. I'd given Precision Auto my best years, missed family events, worked holidays, and built their reputation one crisis at a time. The moment it became convenient, they threw me away like a broken piece of equipment. I was fired 89 minutes ago. I can't ethically continue working on a project for a company that just terminated my employment. What if we hired you directly? Not through Precision Auto, but as an independent consultant working for this plant. Now, that was interesting. I'd never considered going independent, but at 54, maybe it was time to think about options beyond the corporate ladder. My wife Rachel had been telling me for months that I was too valuable to let one company control my future. She'd grown up watching her father work 35 years for a steel company, only to get laid off 8 months before retirement. That would create contractual complications. Your plant has maintenance agreements with Precision Auto. Those agreements probably have exclusivity provisions preventing you from hiring outside consultants to work on Precision Auto design systems. I'll check our contracts. She called the plant's legal department, had a quick conversation that involved a lot of technical terms and urgent whispers, then looked at me with cautious optimism. Our legal team says the maintenance agreement has exclusivity provisions for routine service, but emergency repairs can be conducted by any qualified consultant if Precision Auto cannot provide timely support. They're defining timely support as within 48 hours of request. That was the opening I needed. Not just to solve this immediate crisis, but to test whether there was a future beyond Precision Auto. At 54, I was too old to start over at another company, but maybe not too old to start working for myself. Have you formally requested emergency support from Precision Auto? She sent an email to Precision Auto's maintenance department, copying me, formally requesting immediate technical support for the hydraulic system failure and noting that the previous technician, me, was no longer available to complete the repair work. She marked it urgent and requested response within 6 hours. At 3:40 a.m., we received a response from Precision Auto's maintenance coordinator that told us everything we needed to know about how this was going to play out. We acknowledge your request for emergency technical support. Our senior manufacturing engineers are currently committed to other client projects. We are working to identify available resources and will provide an estimated response timeline within 24 hours. 24 hours. In corporate speak, that meant they had no idea how to solve this problem without me, but they weren't ready to admit it yet. Owen was probably spending his Saturday morning calling every contractor and consultant he could find, trying to locate someone who understood German hydraulic systems well enough to not make the crisis worse. Rachel showed me the email with the kind of desperate expression you see on people who are watching their career go down in flames through no fault of their own. What does this mean? It means Precision Auto doesn't have anyone available to send. Cameron is in Kentucky, and apparently nobody else at Precision Auto has the expertise to handle legacy hydraulic failures. So we wait unless you want to exercise your contract provision and hire an independent consultant. Are you available as an independent consultant? This was the moment. At 54, after 26 years of corporate life, I was being offered the chance to work for myself, to set my own rates, choose my own projects, and never again have to worry about some manager deciding my expertise was too expensive. Rachel had been right. This wasn't a crisis. It was an opportunity. I could be. What would your rate structure look like? I thought about that carefully. Independent consulting rates for emergency manufacturing work typically range from $150 to $400 per hour, depending on expertise level and urgency. I was at the top of the expertise scale, and this was definitely urgent. But more than that, I was the only person available who could solve this problem. That kind of scarcity has value: $265 per hour for emergency equipment repair, minimum 18-hour engagement to ensure complete system restoration and testing. That's $4,770 total payment terms, 50% deposit before I resume work, remaining 50% upon successful production restart. Rachel didn't even blink. When your plant is losing $35,000 per hour and faces contract penalties that could reach millions, $4,770 for a solution starts looking like a bargain. Done. I'll have our finance department process the deposit immediately. At 4:45 a.m. Saturday morning, my phone chimed with a bank transfer notification. $1,385 had just cleared into my personal checking account, more money than I'd ever received for a single shift's work in my entire career. At 5 a.m., I resumed work on the hydraulic repairs, but now I was working for myself. The funny thing about doing the same work as an independent consultant instead of a corporate employee is how different it feels. Every hour I worked was billable. Every problem I solved was building my reputation instead of someone else's company. Every decision was mine to make. For the first time in 26 years, I wasn't just fixing someone else's crisis, I was building my own future. By 2 p.m. Saturday, I'd completed the hydraulic cylinder rebuilds across all 3 systems. The work went faster than I'd expected because I wasn't dealing with corporate approval processes or having to document every decision for managers who wouldn't understand the technical details anyway. By 6 p.m., I'd replaced the contaminated fluid lines and updated the maintenance protocols. By 9 p.m., all 3 presses were back online with no pressure irregularities and no production errors. Total downtime, 39 hours. Total losses, approximately $1.365 million, but the systems were running and the repairs I'd implemented would prevent similar hydraulic failures in the future. More importantly, I'd just proven to myself that I didn't need Precision Auto. They needed me. Rachel was watching the production monitors with visible relief as transmission housings began rolling off the line again. The green lights were beautiful, each one representing hundreds of parts that had been stalled for over a day, finally moving through the system like they were supposed to. Garrett, I cannot thank you enough. You saved us from a disaster that would have been catastrophically worse if we'd waited for Precision Auto to send another technician. You're welcome. I'll prepare a technical report documenting the failure mode, repair procedures, and maintenance recommendations. You should share that with Precision Auto so they can update their service documentation. At 10:15 p.m. Saturday night, I received a call from Owen Bailey. I was back at my house, exhausted but satisfied with the weekend's work. More than satisfied, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Pride in work that was entirely mine. Garrett, I understand you completed the hydraulic repairs as an independent consultant. We need to discuss your employment status. Preston's decision to terminate you was premature. We'd like to offer you reinstatement with full back pay and benefits. I appreciate that, but I'm declining. I'm now operating as an independent consultant. It's more lucrative and I have better control over which projects I accept. What does that mean for Precision Auto? You're our most experienced manufacturing engineer. It means Precision Auto will need to develop other technicians with similar expertise or accept that your crisis response capability is significantly reduced. The truth was, at 54, I'd finally learned what my grandfather never had the chance to. He worked 38 years for the same automotive plant, believing that loyalty and hard work would guarantee security. When the company moved production overseas, they eliminated his pension and laid him off at 62. He spent his last 5 working years bouncing between part-time jobs, never again finding the security he'd thought he'd earned. I wasn't going to make his mistake. That's not acceptable. We have ongoing client emergencies that require your specific knowledge. Then Precision Auto should have considered that before terminating me while I was literally in the middle of managing one of those emergencies. Garrett, I understand you're upset about how Preston handled the situation. I'm not upset, Owen. I'm simply making rational business decisions based on new information. Preston demonstrated that Precision Auto doesn't value my contributions enough to avoid terminating me during a crisis. I've learned from that demonstration. When I told my wife Rachel what had happened, she just smiled and opened a beer. Finally, she said, I was wondering how long it would take you to figure out what I've been telling you for 10 years. Which is what? That you were too good for them. That you were making other people rich off your expertise while worrying about whether they'd keep you around. Now you get to make yourself rich. She was right as usual. Over the next 6 weeks, I received 18 emergency calls from manufacturing plants experiencing equipment failures. Each call followed the same pattern. Complex breakdown on legacy systems. Precision Auto couldn't respond quickly enough. Could I help as an independent consultant? I helped all 18 clients. Total consulting revenue, $68,000 for 6 weeks of work. That was more than I'd made in the previous 14 months at Precision Auto. Word spreads fast in the manufacturing industry. By September, I was receiving calls from plants that had never worked with Precision Auto, asking if I was available for preventive maintenance audits and ongoing equipment consulting. These weren't emergency calls. They were facilities that wanted to prevent emergencies by having someone who understood their legacy systems before problems occurred. By November, I had 4 long-term consulting contracts with plants who wanted guaranteed access to my hydraulic expertise when they needed it. Combined retainer revenue, $12,000 monthly, approximately $144,000 annually, plus additional project fees. In January, Precision Auto formally offered me a consulting arrangement. $265 per hour for active repair work. $2,500 monthly retainer for availability and consultation. 8-month contract renewable at my discretion. I accepted because it was guaranteed revenue and Precision Auto represented one of the most reliable sources of emergency work. Preston Ward lasted until March. The board terminated him after they calculated that his decision to fire me during the hydraulic crisis had cost Precision Auto approximately $575,000 in lost client contracts, emergency response costs, and consulting fees they were now paying me instead of employing me directly. The irony wasn't lost on me. They were now paying me more in 8 months than they'd paid me in 4 years as an employee. I stayed independent. By late 2024, I was managing 7 long-term consulting relationships with manufacturing facilities across the Midwest. Annual revenue was approaching $420,000. I was working approximately 60% of the hours I'd worked at Precision Auto, while earning nearly 4 times my previous salary. More importantly, I was valued. When clients called me for equipment crisis, they understood they were paying premium rates for premium expertise. Nobody questioned whether my approach was worth the investment. They'd all seen what happened when they tried to solve legacy system failures without specialized knowledge, but the real change wasn't financial, it was psychological. For the first time in my career, I wasn't worried about layoffs, corporate restructuring, or some new manager deciding I was too expensive. My security came from my expertise, not from someone else's decision about whether to keep me around. Rachel and I started talking about things we'd never been able to plan before. Maybe helping our nephew Casey with his college tuition without worrying about our own retirement savings. Maybe taking that trip to Alaska we'd always wanted but never felt we could afford. Maybe buying that cabin up north instead of just talking about it every summer. At 54, I thought my best working years were behind me. Instead, I discovered they were just beginning. The experience taught me something my father's generation never had the chance to learn. Sometimes the worst thing that can happen to your career turns out to be the best thing. Here's what I learned from the entire experience, and what I wish I'd understood 20 years earlier. The most dangerous employee to fire isn't the one who complains about management or threatens to quit. It's the one who's literally in the middle of solving a crisis that nobody else knows how to solve when you decide they're expendable. Because when you fire that person, you don't just lose their future contributions, you lose their ability to prevent the immediate disaster that's happening right now. And you discover that replacing specialized expertise during an emergency isn't just expensive, it's often impossible. Peaston wanted to reduce payroll and eliminate what he saw as an expensive senior technician. He got exactly what he wanted. I was eliminated. But my expertise wasn't eliminated. It just got a lot more expensive and started working for the competition. Sometimes the best revenge isn't proving people wrong. It's letting them experience the full cost of being right about what they wanted. Preston wanted me gone, and I was gone. Then he got to explain to his executives why their most critical production crisis was costing an additional $35,000 per day, because the one person who could fix it was no longer on their payroll. At 54, I finally learned what took my grandfather a lifetime to figure out, but too late to benefit from. Your value isn't determined by what one company is willing to pay you. It's determined by what the market will pay for what you know how to do. And sometimes the market values that knowledge far more than any single employer ever will. Getting fired wasn't the end of my career. It was the beginning of the career I should have had all along, one where my expertise was properly valued because I controlled how it was deployed. That phone call at 11:45 p.m. on a Friday night didn't destroy my future. It finally set it free. In corporate America, they'll call you family right up until the moment they decide you're too expensive. But your expertise belongs to you, not them, and the market will always pay more for real value than any single employer ever will. The most powerful position you can ever hold isn't a title on someone else's org chart. It's being the only person who can solve the problem when everything is falling apart. Because that's when you discover your true worth isn't what they were willing to pay you, it's what they can't afford to lose.